Okay, we are recording. And share my screen. Yeah, this is a first time doing a workshop at this time of day, 4 o'clock. We figured we'd try something new. So it's good to see at least some people showed up. So, all right, everybody see that PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, thanks again for joining. And just as a brief introduction again, for those who weren't here earlier, my name is Zach Veers. I'm the clinic owner, therapist here in Seattle, and I've been here 5 years. Previously worked in the Egoscue Portland clinic with Kelly, who's co-presenting with me today. Her and her husband, Martin, own the clinic down there. And I actually got into Egoscue kind of because of sports, really. I mean, I played racquetball competitively in college, and I started developing some shoulder and back problems. And at the same time, I was introduced to this Egoscue method from one of my professors, and it had been a lifesaver for him. And so he introduced it to me, and so you can probably guess that obviously it helped me and got me out of pain. And so that's really what started me on this path. And I studied exercise science. I was a personal trainer, and but once I found this and felt how effective it was, and I really wanted to help other people experience the same thing. So that's just kind of my background. I don't play racquetball as much as I'd like to anymore, but I recently picked up pickleball and I still like to be active with hiking, and I've got 2 little kids now that keep me busy, and I like to work out at the gym too. So yeah, hopefully you guys find this helpful today, whether you're new to Egoscue or a seasoned veteran. It sounds like we have some people that have been doing this a while, but just by either show of hands or you can unmute yourself, how many people have are like brand new to Egoscue, never really done, therapy or worked with anybody? This is like something new to them. Anybody? Okay. It sounds like we all have a little bit of experience. That's good. Alyssa, cool. Well, this will be a good introduction. So we've got sports as the topic today, of course, but it's okay if you don't play sports. It's still going to be helpful, I think. So these are just some of the most common sports that I think we see our clients play or participate in. Now you'll notice golf, tennis, yoga, gardening, hiking. So, it doesn't have to be like an organized sport, but really just any physical activity that you like to enjoy. The same principles apply. So I know we've had some people mention earlier, Pilates, hiking, tennis, pickleball, any other sports, anybody in the class here that isn't listed up here, anything we're missing?
Cindy said downhill skiing.
Oh, skiing.
Yeah, that's right.
Good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
I like to ski too.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Good. So we got some skiers. Anybody ever, do you have pain when you ski or when you play? I know tennis was mentioned as injuries there, but who's had injuries, or just maybe not an injury, but just kind of a nagging pain or limitation with their sport that they had to maybe give up or modify because of that pain? I know I did. That's with the racquetball. But our goal today is to help teach you that, it's not the activity's fault, but our bodies are designed to do these things. You should be able to golf, you should be able to ski or play tennis your whole life, really. And if you have pain, we want to address the reason why you have pain so you can continue doing your activity that you enjoy and not just give it up. So pain, what is it? So our approach to pain is maybe a little different than most of Western medicine, I think you'll see. We see it as, it's not a negative thing. It's not something to be feared. It's your body's way of talking to you. One of the ways that your body communicates with you. And as a warning signal. So just like the check engine light on your car tells you that something's not working properly and you should look into it. It doesn't necessarily even mean anything's broken or damaged. It's just something's not working the way it should, basically. So you have two choices. You can either ignore it, or even like mask the signal, mask the pain, right? Turn off the check engine light or cover it up with duct tape so you don't see it, but you're not really addressing the reason it's there. Or you can investigate farther and say, okay, what's my body trying to tell me? What's causing that signal? So now people will blame their pain on all kinds of things. This is very typical to hear age being blamed for it.
Yeah.
And if that were the case, then, well, we wouldn't be in business because we help people get out of pain and we don't make them any younger. So you don't have, age doesn't, have to be an issue. Genetics, same thing. We have yet to find a gene specific for back pain or for, knee pain and things like that. So, and then the sport. So obviously we'll focus a little bit more on that today, but, or is the pain just body that you're bringing to the sport or the activity or your job? Is it just out of alignment? So we'll investigate that. So I like this example. It shows a house that's kind of good. Yeah, kind of looks like it's on the brink of collapse. Maybe some of you feel that way sometimes, right? Or you look in the mirror and you look crooked like that. And our bodies are kind of the same as a building. They require to be structurally sound and strong and stable to be able to withstand the forces of the stresses of life, or of the tennis. I'll just use as an example. A lot of side to side motion, a lot of twisting, changing directions. It puts some stresses on the body, which you should be able to handle if everything is aligned properly. But this house, if you have a lot of side to side forces, it's going to fall over, right? So, so our bodies are no different. When our posture, or when we talk about posture, by the way, we'll define that or show you an example in a minute. We're not just talking about, your back, like sitting up straight or standing up straight. It's really all the joints from your ankles all the way up to your head, their relation to each other, the position relative to each other. And when they're not properly aligned with each other, when those joints aren't supporting each other well, your body's less efficient. It's, you're out of balance, right? So you're more likely to cause strain or stress or damage to your body. Now with good posture, on the other hand, everything is in balance. You're more protected, you're more stable, less likely to get hurt. You're more efficient. And regardless of position, so it's not just standing, but it applies to your posture in your sport, your posture, when you're skiing, when you're sitting at your desk, when you're running, it's when we move, we have posture too. It's not just a static position, but that all comes into play. So once again, our bodies were designed to move. I think we all were probably more active when we were younger than we are now. And that's, just kind of part of life. You get more responsibilities and have less time to play, but really ideally we should be moving like kids our whole lives. And as we stop using our bodies, we start being more sedentary. We start sitting more at our jobs or in our cars, at school. We just stop using all of our joints through their design range of motion, and we start to develop these weaknesses or deficiencies in our body because of lack of movement, really. And so our goal is to return our bodies to that ability to move properly and move often, so that we can maintain our healthy, active bodies our whole life. So rather than just eliminating the pain through drugs or surgeries or complete rest, which all these things are not inherently bad. Like sometimes you definitely need them, but we have to go back to, what caused that check engine light or that signal, that pain signal to turn on in the first place, and make sure that our treatment is going to actually change the cause and not just the symptom. So with the sports, the poor, sad baseball player there sitting on the bench, I'm sure some can relate to that, having to stop the sport or activity you love. I know I was fortunate that I found Egoscue, relatively soon, and didn't have to give up racquetball. I could have stopped playing, and just because I only hurt when I play, so hey, I could just give up playing and I'd be okay, right? Well, I didn't want to settle for that, and so hopefully you guys don't either. But okay, so don't want to do that. So this is something important, I think, to talk about real quick, which is impact. So we talk about like high impact or low impact activities. So I have running there at the top. That's one of the more high impact activities or sports, if you will. There's obviously ones that have even more impact. You could think of like a contact sport like football, or something being an extreme, but basically, the impact is actually a good thing for our bodies. It's been shown that one of the most important ways to keep our bones healthy is by having that stress, that load, or that impact of gravity and the weight of our bodies on our bones helps to keep them strong and dense. And not only that, but when we have something like running, for example, there's a lot of stabilization going on. Our bodies have to, every time our foot hits the ground, there's dozens of muscles that are firing to support the joints and to keep them in place and keep you moving. So what tends to happen, unfortunately, is maybe some of you can relate, is you start to have pain with something like running, and rather than, once again, addressing the cause of your pain, you start to just give up that activity or modify it. So if running hurts my knees, well, maybe I should take up cycling, right? That's less impact, right? Easier on the joints, you may have heard. So you take up cycling and maybe you're okay for a few years, and then eventually something else starts to bug you, your back or your knees start to hurt again. So what's the next step? Well, maybe I'll just go for walks, right? And I can still get my heart rate up. I'll just walk, right? Well, what happens when that starts to hurt? So you just keep going down this list and getting less and less impact for your body, just trying to avoid continuing to put off avoid the true cause. So the elliptical, is something at the gym where you can move your body, but without really hardly any impact. So once again, we're losing that healthy load on our bones and our muscles, and we're also engaging our muscles less and less. We're using our big prime movers, but we're not using those smaller stabilizing muscles, get weaker and weaker. And then eventually, the last resort for most people is swimming, because you're basically weightless, right? There's hardly any impact on your body. So none of those activities are bad. It's just if you're having to limit yourself based on pain, then you're missing out on a lot of things. And so we want to, once again, restore the body's proper function so that it can do those things, and maybe work your way back up that chain. So if all you're able to do now is swim, great. Well, let's improve your posture so that you can start to put a little more impact, a little more load and stress on your body, and eventually get you back to running, So I think, Kelly, you're going to take over here, right?
Sport activity pain
And
free.
don't forget to watch that chat for me. Yeah. So, well, how do we get to enjoy our sports and our activities, without pain? So I was a gymnast competitively for 13 years of my life. And then I became really inactive and went to college, basically pre-veterinary, pre-med. So I was taking all those courses and studying a ton. By the time I got through college, I had so much neck pain and I was working out and it just seemed to get worse and worse and worse. And then and then I kind of quit working out because it was painful. And then I started doing the walking, and it wasn't until I found Egoscue and really took a good look at my posture photos that I realized, oh, wow, my rounded shoulders were forward, my head was forward of the gravity line from all the studying and the inactivity for, from 16 till about 20 or so. It just was a huge eye opener for me. Just really stared me in the face saying, oh, wow, like this is the underlying issue. This really is what needs to be addressed. Because if I'm out there lifting weights in my quote unquote like studying posture or sitting posture or computer posture, right? If I'm working all day or that many hours in a day, 3, 4, 6, 8, depending on how long you're there, even for your work day. And then you're taking that sitting posture to your workout, to your event, to your running, to your biking, hiking, swimming, whatever. That is going to cause, stress in the body. And so for me, it was a huge eye-opener, game-changing point for me when I finally saw that. I was kind of scared of conventional treatments. I didn't want to take any drugs. I didn't want to get adjusted because I wasn't sure. I didn't know what that was about. And I was afraid to get injured. So I never did anything about it until I found Egoscue. And for me, Egoscue just made sense, and it's made sense ever since. And it's, to be honest, it's the thing I've used for 20 years to help me continue to stay active and stay in my sports, hiking. I now mountain bike with my family. I do lots of different workouts. I teach workouts still as a personal trainer too. I walk the walk, I talk the talk and walk the walk, like definitely day in and day out. So I've got my own personal experience involved in it, but then also 20 years of experience with client interaction and experiences to share that knowledge and, that wisdom with everybody. But really becoming aware of what kind of your natural posture habit is to this point up until now in your life. It's like a snapshot in time of everything you've done up until now when you see your posture photos. And when you see that picture and you look at yourself in the mirror and you start to begin to see what's going on, wow, a lot of questions get answered. Like, well, why am I in pain in this area, like on my right side of my body, but not my left? Well, the right side's just as old as your left. It has the same genetics, but it's all one-sided, or it's just in one area, but not in all areas. I think that's so telling about how posture is related to your pain and how you can really start to pull apart the pieces of the puzzle, start looking at them, and start thinking about a plan going forward, putting those puzzle pieces back together and building on a plan and a program to help you regain that balance and that alignment. And then comes the function and the strength. So it's really important that we straighten the body before we strengthen. You don't want to be going from your chair posture straight to your workout without doing an alignment set of exercises, a set of exercises to help align your body, get yourself out of that chair posture, and get you ready to take on that strength routine, whatever it is, whether it's weights, hike, bike. If you're going to put any demand or load, then you want to be in optimal alignment before doing it. And the reason you would know that you're not is if you're in pain. And the body is so great and amazing, such an amazing tool, that it tells you right away. And it's, the pain is just a signal, information for you to say, hey, what's going on? There's something different. There's something happening. Something needs to be addressed, right? It's the only way your body can talk to you. Egoscue before every activity for sure. I don't go into any workouts without doing any kind of pre-workout, pre-Egoscue warm-up workout before I do my workout. And then, you know, I assess my posture afterwards, which we're gonna teach you here in a little bit, how to start assessing your own posture and feeling into, well, where am I at before I start my exercises and after, or my sport or after my sport, and how to start saying, okay, well, I need to get into alignment, do some exercises before I do my exercises, my sport, and then afterwards I reassess and then say, okay, well, I'm out again. So I need to do a few more afterwards to get myself back to neutral again. So it's all about really listening to your body. And my favorite saying that I say to my clients every day, all the time, I should get t-shirts made, is about knowing your limitations. It's so important. Limitations, I think, gets like a bad rap. Like, no one wants to talk about their limitations, right? Well, we really have to know our limitations, stay within them, and slowly push past them. That is the winning formula. Like, that is the name of the game. That's what's going to keep you in your game and in your sport longer. And having the tools to know your limitations, stay present and mindful in your body, stay within them, and then slowly push past them. So that is such a game changer. That's the long-term solution. Okay, so balance posture. Now, I have to say I've never met anyone who looks like this. So these are just really good tools that we use, right? To help us understand, well, how has our body changed over time, right? Through our activities and sports and habits and accidents, injuries, surgeries, all that changes your posture over time from what we call the original design. So original design would be like your textbook photo. So we have 8 load-bearing joints. We have 2 shoulders, 2 hips, 2 knees, 2 ankles, and 2 elbows to wrists, right? So in the front view, good posture is, okay, shoulders are level and square, pointing straight ahead over a level pelvis, which are directly above the knees, pointed straight ahead. The kneecaps should be pointing straight ahead, over feet that are pointed straight ahead. And when I mean feet pointed straight ahead, I mean the space between the second and third toe and the middle of the heel are on a straight line. And your feet are about the width of 2 fists together, you know, that distance from front to back. And then from the front view, you should also see the side of the pointer finger and the thumb in the front view when you look in the mirror, okay? So anything that deviates from that is going to be something that you have taught your body over time due to your activity levels and your, you know, your compensations. Okay, and then the side balance posture. So from this side view, we have the ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all in a straight line, as well as the elbow and the wrist. That should all be on that line as well, with a level pelvis and a nice S curve for the spine. You want that nice S curve because that's what absorbs the shock when you're walking. And then that's what your joints are doing. That's their job too. You know, that's why they have cushion and fluid, because they're all absorbing that shock for you. But if you have misalignments and those joints are out of alignment, guess what? There's wear and tear and rub and grind in those joint spaces, which wear down the cartilage, cause arthritis, those kind of things. So now let's take a look. This is one of our clients, and we want you to start thinking about posture, okay, and becoming your own posture expert. So that's the first thing we do when people come in for their appointment is we take their posture photos, and you get to start looking and diagnosing yourself. That's what we want you to be able to do at any given time so that you can start diagnosing and treating and doing your exercises, doing your plan anytime, anywhere. My motto is suffering is optional, and I really believe in that. So what do you guys see right off the bat? What's out of alignment here? You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself and blurt it out.
His torso is shifted to the left, and on the front view.
Yeah.
And his feet are really close together. So he's not really weight bearing over his hips to his knees to his ankles.
Yeah.
Also, his arms are, like you said, his arms are not in proper alignment. They're rotated inwards, so meeting his hands, right? His left hand looks better than his right hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And in general, like if somebody came and hit him from the side, what do you think his balance is like with his feet that close together?
Not good.
Do you think he'd fall over easily, or you think he'd be able to, catch himself with a really narrow stance, right? And he's already halfway to the side. So if somebody hit him on the right side of his body, boy, he's going to go right over to that left because he's already a quarter of the way there, right? So this is really interesting. In sports, you can predict injuries in athletes based on their posture. And if you're the opposing team, you can actually play your opponents. So it can be kind of scary, kind of tricky there. And what about his side view? Where are his hips and his shoulders and his head in relation to the line? Anybody? Somebody different? Somebody?
You were talking earlier, I was trying to do the posture. I noticed my hands are like his, where they like come forward. They're not in the center of the hip or leg. So I'm assuming both he and I have like our shoulders rolled forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can predict even from his posture, like how might he sit in his chair? What might he do for a living? Right? We can start to think about that. Like where did he get that left offset? Does he have armchairs on his chair at work? Does he lean over to the left when he's sitting in or maybe he's drives and he leans on his door handle when he drives, like where did he develop that little offset? Where in his day-to-day life does he create that habit? Right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alyssa. And it's Kara, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look how far forward his head is from the line, right? The ear. His head's barely even touching that line, let alone his ear, right? So just puts a tremendous amount of stress on his neck and his upper back. So, yeah.
And imagine if he was in a car accident and whiplash, he's going to get way greater whiplash already in front of the gravity line if he were hit from behind and or hit from one side or the other based on the posture, the position that he's in. So.
Right.
And then take that to sports. So take that posture and think about how he's playing sports. Like if he's that rounded forward and that offset, and then he's swinging the club, or he's playing tennis one-sided, or racquetball, or he's downhill skiing and he's got more weight on that left side, right? And his balance is really narrow on those skis. Or when he's swinging and going in rotation, how just that swing alone might topple him over or make him feel off balance, because he doesn't even have his hips actually underneath his shoulders. Okay, and then these are the after photos. So this is the same guy. What changed?
Oh,
That's impressive.
yeah. He's definitely standing up straighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one. What do you see right off the bat? What jumps out at you? What's on the line that wasn't before?
His ear.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, his head is back.
And look at those feet. Are the feet as narrow as they were?
No.
If he got hit going sideways, do you think he'd topple over here? I think he'd be a lot stronger and would be able to withstand whatever impact he was going to take from whatever sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better. He did the work. I love that. Way to throw that in there. Yeah. So, what does it take to, make those changes? That's a big question. That's what everyone wants to know, right? Consistency is the key. And, to train a new habit, you have to start something new. You've got to intervene in the cycle that's happening already. You've got to put in a new stimulus in the habit that is going to make a change. And the muscles just need consistency. So doing the exercises on a consistent basis retrains the neuromuscular pathways, retrains the muscles, which tell the bones what to do. And if you're telling them, hey, this is where we're going and this is what we're doing, yes, they can be stubborn and they can take a little longer than we like, but the body has its own way of knowing how it's going to get there and how long it's going to take. And everybody's different. So, doing the exercises consistently makes changes consistently and lasting. Your body's like a car and you've got to keep it oiled and you've got to keep the alignment right. Otherwise, if you're changing the tires all the time because your alignment's off, you're just going to keep changing tires the rest of your life. Those are just like joints. You can have them replaced all you want. If you don't change the alignment, you're just going to keep breaking down those other areas one set at a time. But if you get the alignment changed in your car and get it straight, then you're not going to wear down your tires anymore.
So we're going to go through some other examples here just to show you
Oh, wow.
just kind of what's possible. And these are typical real clients of ours that have gone through the process of changing their bodies for the better, and just to show you what you can do. So this guy, in his 30s, pretty active. He did like kite surfing, I think. I can never remember which one it is. Anyway, you're on like a board and holding on to a sail that on the water. So anyway, he had right knee pain. And if you look at his before photos here on the very left and look at his feet and his knees, and you can probably guess why he had knee pain. I mean, they're not pointing straight, right? So his right more so than his left is turned out. And so he had knee pain there, and within just a matter of weeks, really, we were able to impact that for the better and get his legs much more properly aligned. You can see from the side views too, that his shoulders and his head is in better alignment. His shoulders were pretty rounded forward here, and afterwards not so much. So here we have another guy who's scoliosis. So you look at where the midline is here, day one, you can see his belly button's off centered. His whole torso is, the line is going through, you can't see it's blurred out his eyes, but it's going through basically his right eye, not between the eyes like it should. Once again, the feet, knees are not pointing straight. And this actually happened pretty quick. This was, I want to say, like 2 weeks just between these two photos. And you can see, I mean, he's not perfectly straight, but look at where the line is now. It's on his belly button. It's more or less down the middle of his face. His feet are pointing a little straighter already. You can see it from the back too, just this curvature in his upper back all the way to his neck. His neck's his head's tilting to one side. That looks much better now. So he's a pretty active guy as well. Big cyclist, hiking, skiing, and like we talked about earlier, he used to do more running but gave it up because, like we talked about, he had all this pain, and so he went for more or less impactful activities. And so, but now that he's changed his posture like this, he's able to do those things and start to get back into those things without the constant pain like he used to. So okay, so I like to share this. This is a little more of an extreme example, but it's really cool to see just what's possible, right? So this lady on the top, very bent over, obviously, just really poor position for her back. I mean, you can imagine how much that hurts just to be in that posture all the time. And this also just goes to show how our bodies adapt to our environment, or what we're asking our bodies to do. It'll adapt. So she worked in a position where she had to be bent over, working on a farm, harvesting crops. And so she was constantly bent over and using her hands on the floor. So that's what her body adapted to doing. And as a result, kind of didn't really get stuck there permanently, because you can see on the bottom now, after just doing some exercises to re-engage her muscles in a balanced way and release some of that tension in her overworked muscles, that she was able to straighten up. And so, yeah, just kind of an amazing transformation once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that one really quick. That's the slide that tells it all. Age, it's nothing but a number. If you have muscles, there's hope. You can change your posture. Your muscles tell your bones what to do. So even after all this time and all this dysfunction and a long history of that posture, she made a difference and she made a change. So that's why after 20 years here, I never say never, and anything's possible. And I've seen it over and over again. So I learned to just keep on treating the posture, because it always makes a difference.
Yeah, good point. One last one here. Well, two last examples. So these women both kind of have similar postures. If you look on the left photos, you can see just the real rounding in the upper back. We talked about the S curve just briefly, but so both of them have a lot of curve here. So that's your thoracic back or upper back. Rounded forward, which makes the head then jut forward. So the ear, you can see, is forward of the line in both cases. Shoulders more rounded. So, and both of these women, of course, had pain when they started coming in. And this lady on the left here, she had given up just about everything. I mean, for her, she didn't even dream of playing sports anymore. She was just happy to be able to sit in a car, to go drive and see her new grandbaby. So that was how severe it was. She was really limited. So she was really happy to be able to make that change. And her hip pain specifically, she had, was told she needed a hip replacement. And, even though it's interesting, the x-rays didn't look that bad. Like she really didn't have a whole lot of degeneration in her hip. There was some, but because of her pain, the doctors, of course, recommended either steroid injections or replacing the hips. But luckily she didn't go through with that, because there really wasn't anything wrong with her hip. It was all coming from her upper back. So she was so locked up and stuck in this kyphosis, that rounding in her upper back, that it was inhibiting her from basically using her hips properly. And as a result, she had pain there. So anyway, really cool that she's now able to, sit and drive just fine. And her, I guess her sport is more yard work and gardening is what she loves to do, is just spend time outside. And this lady on the right, she's in her 80s now. When she's started coming to me, she had back pain and neck pain, and big hiker, and actually a blogger at her age, which is kind of cool. She had a blog about she documented wildflowers in the Pacific Northwest. So she'd take photos up on her hikes and put them online. But the pain was starting to interfere with that and keep her from doing what she loved. But so once again, relatively short amount of time, but I mean, doesn't she just look younger in this photo? I mean, it's just crazy how you would think a lot of times people associate getting older with having poor posture and getting slumped over, but it really doesn't have to be that way. She's older in this photo than she is here, but yet her body's in a better position, better condition, and feeling better too than she ever has. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I can't tell you how much younger the clients get as their sessions go on. The stress of the pain, the stress of, their limitations, just fall off with the pain, and as their exercises change their bodies, and they constantly are saying, I have more energy, I feel younger, I just have so much more energy now. When your body's working more efficiently, more effectively, total body head to toe, you expend way less energy trying to compensate So it frees up a whole bunch of extra energy. And a lot of times you end up losing weight and or trimming or thinning because you start fueling those deep core posture muscles, and those are what are fueling your metabolism. So when you're working out, and you're doing a sport, you want to be using your muscles effectively so that you get the most out of it. So you can do less, get more, is really what it's all about. All right, now we get to try it out. You guys get to start becoming your own experts and putting on your posture goggles, right? So let's have everybody stand up and take your shoes off, socks off if you can, just be barefoot. And this is something that you can do before you head out for your walk or your hike or your bike or swimming, whatever it is that you're doing, racquetball, tennis, okay? And you're gonna stand with those feet nice and hip width, straight and parallel. And I'll show you a picture of my feet and kind of, any of the people who already have these little pillows from Egoscue. It's again, that double fist tight from front to back. That's about right. It's directly underneath the pelvis. Okay, you wanna be that width.
Kelly, we want to.
I'm actually not teaching you that right now. Never mind. I don't want you to stand perfect posture. I want you to just walk in place. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Just march in place.
Gotta check our poor postures first.
Yeah, we're gonna check your regular posture first. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Thanks, Zach. Okay, so now close your eyes and put your attention down into your feet. And check, where is the weight distribution in your feet? Is it heavier right to left? Make a mental note. Is it heavier front to back, like toes versus heels? Make a mental note. Is it heavier inside edge to outside edge? Make that mental note. Also, like, if you could pick a word to give to your posture, like what would that word be? Like one word to describe how you feel in your body about your posture. Make that mental note too. I like to do that. Okay, everybody got it? Everybody who either raise your hand physically and or you can, raise your hand on the thing. How many people had an imbalance? Right to left, front to back, inside to outside.
So what do you feel, Cara?
Yeah. Anybody want to share what they had?
I have more weight on my right than my left, which I know, and a little bit more on my left inside of my foot than my entire foot. And I think also a little bit more forward weight distribution on my left compared to my right. So lots of ones.
Yeah. Anybody surprised at what they found?
Maybe have never done this before. I know sometimes we ask people to do this and it's like, oh,
yeah.
What about that? I know I feel some a little bit heavier on my left and specifically the kind of the ball of the big toe right now. So, so as Cindy, I think you said you felt something. What do you feel?
Definitely more, my weight's on the inside of my feet, all the way down, I think, the whole foot.
Okay.
So not so much on the outer edge, more the inner edge.
Yeah.
The inner edge.
Inner edge. Yeah. Okay, so that's really good information. And then you can start to think about that and how that might relate to your pain. Okay, so that kind of starts the curiosity, the questions, the inquiry about, if my feet cave in, how was that contributing to my knee pain or my hip pain or my ankle pain, right? If you have weight on the inside edge or outside edge or one side of the body versus the other side of the body.
Yeah, because it should feel symmetrical, right? I mean, you want to feel the same thing, just like your standing posture. You should feel balanced right to left, so 50-50, and then front to back 50-50 as well. So if you're not, it just means that something. If we were to take your photos, you would see like, oh, maybe you're shifting your weight to one side, like that one guy. Maybe your feet are turned out. Maybe one shoulder is higher than the other, and that's shifting weight to one side, so it's all connected. What you're feeling is directly related to your posture. So
and your limitations. right? You're only going to be able to go so far walking with, you know, too much weight on the inside edges or with weight on one side, right? You're only going to be able to do so many miles, so much endurance, so much strength. Okay. All right, let's get to the exercises. So you guys ready to change your posture right here, right now in a matter of minutes? It's that quick, it's that easy. The body responds like lightning because we're constantly taking in stimulus from your environment 24/7. So, all right, so we're gonna do a few exercises here. So stay in that standing position if you can, if it's comfortable. If you need to do these sitting, that's okay, you can do that too. So this is where you actually get to go hip width again. And Zach, it's arm circles, elbow curls, and is it overhead extension?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just stopped the screen share so people could see you better.
Yeah. Okay, so again, get those feet nice and hip width and straight. Make sure that they're pointed straight ahead, that space between the second and third toe in the middle of the heel in a nice straight line. And then we're gonna do what's called a golf grip. So you bend at the second knuckle, keep the wrists nice and straight. I just imagine I have like a wrist brace on, so I can't do any of this while I'm doing my exercises. They have to stay nice and straight. Okay. Then you're gonna put that on your temples, your second knuckle on your temples, and you're gonna open and close those elbows like a pair of wings, right? Keeping those feet nice and straight, keeping your head and your chin level and your sternum nice and straight, pointing straight ahead, right? Some of you might feel like you need to cave in to get there to compensate, right? Or tip the head back and forth. And the arms should be just level with your shoulders. They're not down or up, just right level. Good. Anybody getting tired already? Raise your hand. Right? You don't even have to do that many when you're using your deep core posture muscles, and you can really feel the impact right away. Like, oh gosh, I haven't used these muscles in this way in a really long time, right? Awesome. Pull those elbows way back. Let's just do 2 more. 1, 2. Anybody raise your hand feeling tight? Like back here or in here, right? Or having a hard time even just standing with your feet straight. Does it feel really weird to stand with your feet straight? Like, does it feel like you're pigeon-toed or like it's incorrect, but it's correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we teach the exercises to all of our clients here in clinic, I'm always making sure that every exercise that your feet are on the ground and you're doing an exercise here with us, your feet are straight. Okay, let's go to arm circles. So arm circles are same foot position, and you're gonna lift those arms straight up, shoulder height, and you're gonna pinch your shoulder blades down and together so that you're pinching like a little rubber ball between your shoulder blades. You're gonna lock your elbows and circle your arms forward with your thumbs pointing forward, again in that golf grip position, okay? And you're gonna go fast enough that your body rocks kind of back and forth a little bit.
Oh.
And I always say salad plate size circles. Half the circle in back, half the circle in front. Lock those elbows, keep breathing.
Yeah, so your thumbs, you're circling the direction your thumbs are pointing. So if the thumbs are forward,
Oh, that's a good point.
like that.
Can you talk about core right now? Like, I'm used to engaging my core, but am I not supposed to here?
No, you're gonna engage your core, you're gonna engage your hips. Okay, 100 more, ready?
Wow.
Take a break, arms down.
Yeah, Alyssa, you don't want to engage so much, like you're not purposefully like bracing or sucking and tucking and like holding your breath. We don't want to do that. You want to let yourself relax, but that motion, that perturbance of going back and forth, it'll naturally should fire those muscles in your spine and everything. So
Yeah, you want to have, that's why I said salad plate size, and go kind of fast so that you get that rocking motion. So now you're going to circle backwards, palms to the ceiling, thumbs backwards, and continue to pinch those shoulder blades together. Imagine you're pinching a rubber ball back there and you can't drop that rubber ball just because you're circling your arms, right? Your core will kick in. This exercise resets the shoulder girdle, but it also resets your center of gravity. So if those hips were really far forward, it's going to pull them back, or the shoulders were really rounded forward, it's going to pull them back onto the gravity line. Okay, arms down, take a little break. Everybody's arms a little nice and warm, and yeah, raise your hand if you're feeling a little tired in those muscles already. Okay, so now we're going to interlace our fingers. Now, and if you can't interlace, it's okay to do it like this too. So interlace, extend your elbows, and you're going to lift your hands straight up over your head, and you're going to keep them just about in front of your face and looking up towards your palms. Keep your shoulders out of your ears. That's the hardest part, is not to end up with shoulders for earrings. Keep your shoulders down and together. Look up, lock your elbows, and look up towards your hands. Make sure those feet are still nice and straight. Make sure to breathe. Big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let that belly just fall out. I call it full Thanksgiving dinner. Get that diaphragm moving. 5 more minutes. 4 more to go. Just teasing you guys. Big deep breath. Lynn knows. She's probably held it that long before. I've made her. All right, come on down nice and slow. Yeah. Was anybody big stretch to get even just the hands there and up? Yeah, like the rotation wasn't there in the wrist and the elbow to get that. Yeah. Okay, so now let's close our eyes and put our weight back into our feet again, and let's assess our posture after doing posture corrective exercises. We only did 3. Let's check in, see if anything changed. Where's your weight distribution, right to left? Has it changed? Did it stay the same? What about front to back? Is it in the toes? Is it in the heels? Is it more balanced? What about inside edge to outside edge? Same, better, different? Anybody want to share? What do they got? What do you have? What's going on over there?
Definitely better. Not as heavy on my inside.
Okay, where did it go?
It must have distributed evenly.
Yeah. Did you get younger? Did you change your genetics? Did you have surgery?
No.
Did you take pills? Did you get an injection?
No, I just had fun.
Okay, you just moved your body and feel a little better.
Yeah.
Also, like, what did your word change? Like when I asked you to pick a word about your posture, like sink back into your posture now and into just how you feel. Like, did that word change for you? Did it go from negative to positive?
Not quite yet, but it's
Right.
always pretty positive, but it
good.
still has work to do.
Okay. What about you, Christina?
My feet were kind of pointed out when we started, so they actually went straight naturally, and then my weight was on the outside, and then it went pretty even throughout. And my word was okay, and then after it was better.
Oh, great! You're climbing that ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, I'd love to do the word thing, because that it really, posture changes everything about your day. If you have good posture, you have more oxygen into your cells, into your brain, into your organs. You have more energy to expend on the things that you need to do. You have better focus, right? It really tailors into everything, all the systems in life. So it's great. Anybody else want to share?
Mine was more balanced right to left.
Great.
Yeah, so that felt good.
Yeah. Alyssa, how about you?
I felt more balanced front to back. And also when I started, my word in my head was slumpy.
Oh.
Because I feel like coming from a computer work, I just felt like, so I felt some opening up in my shoulders where it didn't feel like I was just kind of being.
Yeah. You went from slumpy to more open.
Yeah.
And Lynn, what about you? How'd you feel?
Well, I was tired doing those arm
From
things.
doing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, getting those
I've
muscles
done them
moved up
before,
again.
but yeah, it was tiring.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good point too that she made. Like, your posture will always go backwards the same way you went forward. So if you stop doing the exercises, your posture, your day-to-day habits, a lot of times don't change. So your posture will actually go backwards the same way it goes forward. So if you start doing the exercises, you make an impact right then and there, and then you continue to make that impact and do those exercises consistently going forward, you'll hold and maintain and keep that posture. And then if you stop, it will go backwards. So it's really all about that consistency and really keeping up with it as a maintenance, just like brushing your teeth, just like, drinking water every day and making sure that you eat so that you don't pass out, right? Your body has got to have that attention and that maintenance. So awesome job. I'm so glad that you guys all felt the difference. And yeah. Any questions about those exercises and or anything that you experienced?
All right. Well, feel free to use those as often as you want throughout the day. And, that can be part of, something that you could do simply as part of your prep for your sport or for your activity that you're doing. Now, of course, these are generic exercises that, may or may not be the best ones for you. It seems like most people felt some good improvement, which is awesome. But really nothing's going to replace a customized routine, right? So we'll talk now about what you can do next, now that you've learned some information and tried it out. So a few different options, maybe you're still skeptical, which is fine. I know I was pretty skeptical when I first learned about Egoscue. So if you still have questions and maybe it's not really making sense to you, or you're whatever, you want to learn more, there's probably the best place to learn more about this method is from the founder himself, Pete Egoscue. That's where the name comes from, by the way. It's somebody's last name. But he wrote a bunch of books that are all great, but Pain Free is probably the one to get if you're brand new to this. You can get it on Amazon for like $15 or pick one up in one of our clinics. But that's a great resource for anybody, even if you're a veteran of Egoscue. I think there's so much good information in there, and he really explains things well and gives you some examples of exercises you can do for specific pains as well. So now, what if maybe you're feeling like, okay, this is making sense. Like I felt some change in my feet. Yeah. So, but how does that relate to my rotator cuff tear, or maybe is this going to help me with, I've got a bulging disc. So, if you've got questions and you want to maybe talk with Kelly or me more one-on-one, we're happy to do a free posture evaluation with you. So we can actually look at your posture and help you connect the dots and see like how your shoulder is connected to your foot or whatever. And just to give you more information about your body and help you understand what's going on. If you do have pain or if you do have limitations with a sport that you'd like help with, reach out to us. We can do that on Zoom or in the clinic really easily. So, and then the final option, of course, is if you're feeling like this is making sense and it's something that you need, and you saw those changes in other people, you felt some change in yourself, and you want to continue that, and you want to reach some goals. The best way to do that is committing to the process and getting your own customized routine, getting the help, the guidance and the accountability to do it every day so that you can make those long-term changes. So we are offering we have two different packages that you can choose from to work with us, and we're giving a discount of 15% off if you do decide as a thank you for attending and participating today. So just reach out to schedule that first appointment, and we can help you on that journey to being pain-free. Yeah, I think that was, oh, here's our contact info. So I'm up in Seattle, Kelly's in Portland, as we mentioned. So, but even if you're not close, we can work with people on Zoom. So regardless of where you are, you know, there's a way to get help. So
There's a will, there's a way. I also just want to mention too, well, what does 8 sessions look like? What does 16 sessions look like? Like, what does the Egoscue process look like in clinic? I mean, Cara, you already know because you're in the process. And Lynn, you've been in before too. But, you know, we do a full posture evaluation. Your first session is an hour and a half, and we take posture photos, and we do gait analysis, and we do functional testing to find out where your muscle imbalances are specifically for you. We educate you on, you know, your posture and your imbalances, so you're really clear on how your posture is related to your pain and your limitations. Light bulbs go off. The answers to questions that you've had for decades get answered. You're just like, oh, you know. So from there, we work one-on-one with you. It's a really, you know, intimate, you know, relationship that we start building with you from the very beginning about listening to your body and figuring out what it needs, and, you know, really looking at the posture and the function and the dysfunction, and creating a personalized set of exercises specifically tailored to your muscle imbalances. And we teach them to you one at a time, and we modify them to meet your body's needs. And so we'll teach them to you, and then you go home with pictures, descriptions, videos. There's a free app that you can put on your phone. So it's really accessible no matter where you are or what situation you're in. You've always got your exercises with you. And then we do follow-up every week, and we check in. We see people about every week for 8 to 16 weeks. It takes about 8 to 16 weeks to build a new habit, to start training that function, that alignment, and then the function back into the body. So people go through a process of restoring the posture and the alignment. And then once they've restored it, got themselves out of pain, because I mean, I'm not doing the work for you, you're doing it. I'm your coach, I'm your teacher, I'm your therapist, right? But I'm not at home doing them day in and day out with you. You are, right? You're taking ownership. You're becoming empowered with your tools, right? And you're learning how to diagnose and treat yourself. And then you're bringing that information back to me every week. And then we start climbing that ladder of straighten, strengthen, straighten, strengthen. And we start reaching towards your goals every week. And then after you get through the restoration, get me out of pain phase, then you start moving into strengthening the new straightened position. And then we start adding more strength, and then you're off thriving. And, you know, you become one of my maintenance clients that I see every three months, 6 months, a year. And they're just coming in saying, okay, what's next? What's next? I'm tackling life, you know? So that's really what the process looks like. And the great thing about it is that you're never alone from here on out. Like, even if you don't come in at all, you just do the book, or you come in for your first session, you're part of the Egoscue family forever. So please call us, email us, get in touch with us. If you have questions, concerns, like I just had another lady this called this week and left a message on the phone, and she's like, I've got my mom and I just don't even know if she can get on the floor to do these or if it would even be helpful. I just didn't know who else to call. So I called you, you know, like we're here for that. Like we want your mom feeling better. We want to be able to help. There is something that you can do no matter what. So know that we're here. Text us, email us, call us. You know, we will help.
So anybody have any other questions that didn't get answered yet?
Can you tell me the cost of the 8th session? What was that?
Oh,
Yeah. Go back one side.
Oh, thank you. I didn't see that. Oh, quickly enough. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the normal price is there crossed out, and then that's the price with the discount. So
Does that include the evaluation session? Or is
It does. That's such a good
Mm.
question.
Mm.
Yes. So individual sessions are $250. So if you do individually, it's obviously more expensive. But your first session is part of the 8 and part of the 16. It's not another $250 on top of. Yeah, no. Yeah. But some people come in and try it out. They haven't heard of us. They haven't been to a workshop, right? So they're like, who are you? I learned about you from my friend. I need to come in and find out what's going on and see if this is for me. So they do a single session. And then at the end of that session, they say yay or nay, or, you know, whatever it is for them. So That's why we have individual sessions.
Hmm.
Yeah, Cindy?
I have a question. Would it be better to come into the clinic for the first session to get the photos? Or can you do that efficiently through Zoom?
That's a good question.
I've been working via Zoom and online with clients for decades. So for me, it really makes no difference. But I'm all about meeting the client where they're at and honoring what's most comfortable for you. So if you want to come in and you want that one-on-one experience and you really just want to be in the mix, then I feel like definitely go for it, do it. But if you're like, well, it's just so much stress just to even get there, and or a lot of people are like, I'm in so much pain, I can't drive there, it hurts, right?
Oh.
Back and forth.
Mm.
So then in that case, I say take the stress out of the mix, do it at home on your computer, and then, you know, come in when you're feeling better, when we get you going good again.
Okay,
Does that answer your
Great.
question?
So
it does.
Okay.
if you do it
You
on,
either kind of fall into one of the two categories.
yeah. So if you, how it works on Zoom is, I prefer to have people, we'll give you instructions on how to do this, but you'll take your own posture photos or have someone take some pictures of you on their phone, you know.
Okay.
You can just email them to us so we'll put them in our software just like we would do here. We can put those lines on the pictures so you can see where everything is. Or if you can't, let's say you don't have anybody around to take some pictures of you, we can just take screenshots through Zoom. So we can just look at you through like we are now, you know, and have you step away from the camera, take a screenshot, have you turn, take another screenshot. So we can do it a few different ways. But since it's a hands-off approach, like we don't do any manual like manipulations or massage or anything like that. It's all stretching and exercises. So as long as we can see each other, it works just as well, you know, remotely. So I, like Kelly said, I mean, I just leave it up to to you, whatever you prefer is fine. So
Okay.
same effectiveness and everything is the same.
Yeah, there's people that I have seen literally only once in the 5 to 10 years I've been working with them.
Oh.
In person. Like I've seen them on Skype. Like I had a HP exec who traveled all over the country for her jobs, and I only saw her once in person the very first time she came in, and she lives in Idaho. She's retired now. I haven't seen her in person in years.
Oh.
But I see her every 3 months now for maintenance, every 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Question. Any
Great.
other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
oh, you're so
Yeah.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great workshop and great information.
Yeah.
Let us know if we can help or we can answer any more questions. Please reach out. Don't be shy.
All right. Have a good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome, Christina. Nice to see you.
Yep, you too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good to see you. I hope your family's well.
Oh,
Your
they
kid-
are,
your
Lynn.
kids.
It's so good to see your face too. Glenn, he snuck off there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
He's
I'll tell
making
him.
dinner for you, right?
I would. I wish.
I know. I was poking at you a little bit there.
He's not too much of a cook, but that's okay. Does
Yeah,
other things.
Martin's learning, believe it or not. So you
Right.
can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I know. I
It
know.
may be the same thing every week, but at least it's something.
Right.